I'd like to dedicate this episode to my Uncle Jim, who taught me everything I know about the lawn business, what to do, how it works, the ins and outs, and we'll miss him.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Tea with Krema. My name is Chris. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm joined by my best friend, Emma.
What's up, y'all?
We are super excited today. It has been a very, very wonderful time this past year. I don't know if anyone recalls, almost a year ago to the day, we had the owner, the CEO, the founder of Wilson's Lawncare on the podcast. So again, we're checking in and welcoming back Brian from Wilson's Lawncare.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, we're super excited to have you. It has been quite an adventurous year. I don't know if anyone was following along. There was supposed to be a mid-season check-in, but let me tell you, Brian was so popular, so successful.
Booked and busy.
It did not happen. We could not make it work. So that's all right. We were like, it's fine. We'll just come back 1 year, full circle moment, and we'll check in that way. So generally speaking, if you were too busy, it went well.
This is true. It did go very well.
So we can't complain about it going well. It almost would have been more worrisome had you had enough time. Like you were like, oh yeah, like when are you ready? Because I'm ready. But no. Booked, set, ready to go. But that's all right. You're here, so we're super excited to hear how it went. But before we jump in, we want to do our tea checks. So, Emma, what tea did you bring today?
I'm basic. I brought a green tea because I have to wake up. I'm really sleepy. But, there's supposed to be some caffeine in here. Possibly. So we'll see how it goes. But I brought some green tea. What did you bring, Brian?
So today, I don't have tea. So I have a Monster. It's a Aussie lemonade. I also some energy today. So, yes.
That's like a really pretty can. I've never seen that Monster before. Aussie lemonade. I didn't even realize they made juice. Yeah. I thought they just made things that gave you kidney stones. I'm glad. I hope that one doesn't give you a kidney stone.
Hey.
That's concerning.
And what are you drinking today? Chris?
Today I have the Elderflower Grapefruit Nectar by Tiny Bee Teas, which I've come to realize is one of my favorite tea companies because they make pretty nice teas. So this one smelled really good immediately, and it's made of apple, rosehip seed, chicory root, elderberry flowers, grapefruit, and marigold petals. And all of those things worked really well together. So it smelled good immediately, and the flavors didn't really overpower. They all just kind of worked together. So honestly, I'd have to give Elderflower Grapefruit Nectar a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. So good job, Tiny Bee Tea.
Nice. Wait, question. Is elderberry and elderflower the same thing?
Emma, do I look like a botanist to you?
Sometimes. You be acting like one.
No, I have no idea, actually. This is one of those times I'm stumped. I do not actually know if they're the same thing.
Brian? Do you know? Because I know one of them is good, like when you have the flu and stuff, when people are like, oh, they're out of flu medicine, then they take that.
Yeah. I mean, elderberry, elderflower, maybe the flower produces the berry. Who knows?
See, okay, Brian is a botanist, so I will trust him.
No.
Okay, well, we'll look it up.
But in any case, jumping in with our episode. So Brian, again, it's been a whole year because you were very, very busy. So our mid-season check-in didn't happen. But we want to say congratulations because that means that you have made it through a full, busy, successful season. So congratulations.
Thank you.
A round of applause right there for you. Oh my goodness. So how are you feeling about making it through a full season, full-time Wilson's Lawncare?
I could say I feel pretty, I don't want to say successful yet, but I feel relieved that I was able to make it through a full season of being my sole income. So I'm relieved. And I think Shemaine is.
I know, being a partner to somebody, like I'm sure Shemaine was like, I support you. I just hope this works out.
Yeah. We covered that on the first episode. I said, yeah, it wasn't that I needed her permission, but it was more or less like, hey, do you support me in this? And she gave me a few looks, but it ended up all being okay.
Oh, we're so happy to hear that, though. Not that we ever doubted you, though. I will say that. I think that we were like, you're gonna kill it. So, did you encounter any surprises this season, though?
I'd say the biggest surprise I went through this season was I'm working in a flower bed and I'm cleaning it out, getting all the old mulch out and getting ready to put new mulch down. And I get to this point back by the window and a snake jumps out.
Oh, no.
Probably about maybe 2.5 foot long.
That's a big snake.
I don't even like bugs. I don't like bugs, bees, wasps, whatever. Doesn't matter. If it flies, crawls, I don't do it. So I go to running. I'm all out in the middle of the yard. I'm just like a crazy man and nothing else is on me. So I go back over to the flower bed just to see, because I had my shovel. I was ready. I was ready to for lack of better words, murder. Because I couldn't. I was not going to work. I was going to literally text the customer and say, "Hey, look, there's a snake here. I'm out." So went over and I didn't find the snake. Didn't see it. And I don't know if it just slithered away somewhere else. But I continued to work. Finished. I hurried up, cleaned out what I was doing, put down the new mulch, and left. So, that was a scary surprise because I don't like bugs. I know I'm outside all day. I hate bugs. I hate things that fly, crawl, whatever. Don't do it.
You are better than me because had I seen that snake, I would have been like, sorry, bye-bye.
See, that's the thing. It was kind of weird because they had already paid me, so I couldn't just.
Oh.
Yeah, one of the rare moments that someone pays me before I'm done with the job. So.
See, they knew the snake was in there. They're like, if we pay him, he cannot leave.
And I'm going to send them this episode personally so they can...
I didn't drop any names, but just know that this was you. Question number 2 was you.
Oh my God, not 2 to 3 feet. I wouldn't even...
Yeah, it was. It was pretty... At least it looked that way to me. I don't know. It could have been magnified by my fear. I have no idea. But it was definitely nothing I wanted to that moment.
I don't know. It's Texas. It very well could have been.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been non-venomous. It could have been a friendly snake. I don't know. I wasn't going to stick around to find out. So I ran first and then came back. It was gone.
You guys both got scared of each other. You're like, snake. And I was like, Brian.
Fine by me.
So after going full-time, all Wilson's Lawn Care all the time, were there any challenges that were a little bit different from when it was just the side hustle, like the thing that you were doing on the side in addition to full-time work?
So challenges, one of the biggest challenges this past season was the 2.5, 3 month drought of rain we had in Texas. And the biggest challenge with that was, that the lawns just weren't producing as they were before. So they weren't growing as fast. Had a lot of clients who went from being mowed every week to asking me to come every 2 weeks. And I had some of my bi-weekly customers telling me, hey, I'll call you when I need you. So that was an issue within itself as far as income, because of course, you go from mowing one yard 4 times a month to mowing it twice, or you go from mowing a lawn twice a month to, hey, I'll call you when I need you. It kind of, it was a huge challenge for a while. And that just meant I needed to reach out and do more, or reach out and get more clients. It all worked out in the end, but that was really kind of a moment where it kind of really slowed down for me for a while. So that was one of the big challenges I've overcome this season.
It's definitely probably not one of those things that you want to go into your first full season in Texas is like drought.
Yes. I mean, I was rolling really hard there from April to, I don't know, maybe mid-June. I was, 15, 16, sometimes 18 yards a day. And then the drought hits and, okay, 12. All right, not too bad. Mm-hmm. Drought continues to go on. Then I'm doing like 8.
Man.
Or 8 on some days, not every day, but it would be days that, I would have 8 or 9 lawns, which is, to some people are like, oh gosh, that's a lot. Not really. I mean, want this to be a successful business. So that was definitely a challenge for me, and I wasn't the only one that felt it. I have colleagues in the neighborhood that I've befriended this year, and we've spoke about it as well, and it definitely went around the North Texas area for sure. So we definitely suffered a little bit with that.
Do you have like a community of like others who also have businesses like similar to yours, either in the same industry, or do you have a supportive?
I am part of like a couple of groups one group is on Facebook. It's a lawn mowing. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's just a group of guys that have lawn crews, or they mow lawns or whatever, and that's a Facebook group. And I have a separate like messenger group with a guy who invited me to a group of entrepreneurs and that are in this business. So, and then just individually having friends that I speak with just in the neighborhood. I've befriended a couple of guys who work in my same neighborhood, and so not really necessarily support groups, but something I can bounce ideas off of.
Which is so helpful, right? It's not just you having to figure out like, okay, where can we go today? Is anyone else feeling like this? Is it just me? Like, I think that's like super important, especially in your first year, yeah?
Yeah, very. That was helpful.
Yeah, but now I'm kind of curious about this Facebook group in terms of like because it's a local business, so it's based on an area. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thinking of like, how does that work in terms of, because obviously you're not the only person in your area that has this company. So then how do you balance, collaboration versus, a little friendly competition?
I'm not the one to brag. I'm sorry. So please don't take it this way. Even the listeners or you guys. With me, the way I feel is I will put my one-man crew, meaning me, up against a crew of 5, a crew of 6, doesn't matter. So I don't see it as competition or even friendly competition. They're just people that are in the same field I'm in. They do what I do every day. They know what I go through. I know what they go through. So I don't view anyone as competition, because I'm not going to go and seek that person's clientele and I expect the same respect back. Now, if it gets to that, then that's when I feel it becomes competition. But I don't view any of them that way. And it's not in a boastful way, but I don't view it that way. Unless they bring it to me.
Which I think seems like a fair set of like rules for engagement for everyone. Because then, then when you start like poaching all of your clients, then, it makes it hard to then build those connections. And I would imagine it then harder to have that community. Because ultimately, like, you don't want to feel like you're doing something completely alone, but it's hard to make connections when you're poaching everybody's clients.
This is true. And which I feel like, or a lot of us at least in this neighborhood, it's just so many homes or so much potential, I should say, to be successful that you shouldn't have to go after the next guys or crew's clientele to make yourself a household name. You don't go in and undercut price, because a lot of times we won't even share what we charge because of that. Because you never know if you're telling a snake your business. If I say, hey, I charge this person $25, they'll go in and say, okay, I can go ring their doorbell and tell them I'll do it for 20. So I usually never share what anyone pays me at all, because that's rule number 1 for me. I don't share, the pricing. So
I never considered it from the other perspective. In my head, I'm like, I want to go and I want to know what the prices is. So I want to go to a website and get an estimate, kind of like a feel for it. But I could also understand that, especially with a small business and expanding business, you don't want to just put your business out there, because I know corporations will undercut you.
Yeah.
To get you out of an area. And so
they're out.
I did not consider it from that perspective of, it's not like a secretive thing. It's just, I'm not trying to be undercut by like a bigger, larger company that can take a short-term loss to like kick someone out of an area.
Exactly.
Ooh, business gets pretty intense when you think about it. Especially, it's full time, so you have to think about it now.
You have to think about it from every angle, like losing clientele, gaining clientele, being too expensive, being too cheap. It's just because you want to get paid for the work you do, but then you don't want to, I guess, just price gouge the customer, because they just want the job done. They want it done right, but you want to feel like you've gotten paid for what you've done as well. So it's kind of a balance. If it's really bad and you really don't want to do it and you really don't want to charge them what you really feel is necessary, I'll just deny the work, because I know that they wouldn't want to pay what I quote them. That's happened before. So it's kind of a balance. It really is. It's not even kind of. It is a balance that you have to work.
These are literally things that I was just like, everyone's happy. No, it's competitive out there. The logistics are intense.
It can be. You have, I think in my neighborhood alone, I've seen 7 different lawn crews. So.
Wow.
But I will say that area out there is booming. So it's new stuff all the time.
Yeah, I feel like it's enough of a pie for everyone to have a piece, but you never know. You never know who you're at the table with.
That's yes. Nothing better said than that. So like, how did you like come to that, like knowing that these are all the angles you had to look at? Because I remember you said before, like you worked with your uncle in the summer, like that was kind of like your introductory, right? But like now as you have your own business, so like were there books that you read? Were there things you listened to? Like how did you like, or was this just like, oh no, as an entrepreneur, you need to know these things?
I'm glad you brought up, I'm going to go back to the beginning, as you said. I'm glad you brought up my uncle. So I would like to say that dear old Uncle Jim has passed away in January. And just want to say that I want to put this out there and say this episode, I want to dedicate it to him, if that's cool with y'all.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right. Now back to Emma. So it was no books that I picked up, like, Entrepreneurs for Dummies or anything like that. Because as I said in the first episode, so I started this business just to get extra money, right? Like it was, we had a situation here at home. I felt the need I needed to go make some more money. So it was what I learned just along the way, especially with giving quotes, then doing the work and realizing I didn't get paid enough. So that was already something I started to put in my mind. Say, okay, I spent X amount of hours here, but I got this much money. So it's like there was times I probably made $10 an hour because I wasn't quoting it correctly. I was trying to get business and trying not to price gouge, as I said, and it just wasn't working. So it was either charge more or stay the same and feel like, I'm basically getting the short end of the stick. And that just wasn't gonna work with the plans to go full time. Now, if it was just extra money, then maybe, because that was more of a necessity at that point. So after the first side hustle season, which would have been 2020, that's when I kind of dialed in and was like, okay, so I'm getting X amount of clients now. My name is getting out there. I can't always be known as the cheapest guy around. So I need to level the playing field. And I did some research. I called around just to see what an estimate would be for my size yard or this size job. It was some ghost research because I wasn't going to have them do the job, but I wanted to know what the next guy or next crew was doing. So it wasn't any books I read. It was just things I learned along the way and feeling like when I got done with the job, I didn't get paid well. So that's where pricing came in. And then just seeing growth in the area and knowing, okay, in this year, I should be able to get this many clients because this many houses are being built. So it was more or less a domino effect. So I see a new neighborhood going up, and you can ask my kids, Chris, when you see them next time. So when I see a neighborhood going up, I'll ask them, I say, what do I see when I look over there? And they say money, because I see new development. Subdivision or something going up, and that's immediately where my mind goes. So it was more of a mindset change for me as opposed to side hustle to full time. No books read though. No book.
No, that's okay, because I think sometimes a lot of people they'll read all the books, right? And then they'll either scare themselves off of it, or they'll be coming in with such this I don't know the word for it, but it's so academically driven versus no, you need to get out there and actually do the work, because you're not going to know. The book can't tell you everything. It can give you a guide, but.
And I mean, I will say I didn't really build. I mean, I built my clientele, don't get me wrong, but I did have a person in my neighborhood who I met one time when I was at a lawn. He walked up on me. It was 2019, and he asked me how many lawns I had and how many lawns did I need or whatnot. And his name is Brett. He actually started sending me my first piece of huge referrals, 2 or 3 lawns here at a time, 4 or 5. And he really stuck to his word. So, yeah, so between Brett and then just dialing in what I needed to do to be successful later on and not make this a side hustle is where it kind of sparked. So.
That's awesome. Going off of all of that, what would you consider to be the most rewarding thing, now that you're fully full-time and, doing all of that?
Doing my job and going home. I'm responsible for and going home. Because a lot of times in corporate America, you have these job titles and, and yes, this is your job title. And yes, you've probably done everything that you were supposed to do for that day, but there's always damage control. There's always your phone ringing. There's always something that can happen throughout the day. And don't get me wrong, things happen throughout my day as well. But once I'm done, I'm done. No one's going to call me and say, hey, can you come and trim this hedge at 9:00 at night? It's just not going to. But I've worked in corporate America. I worked for Pepsi for 11 years. I held a position at one time where my phone would ring at 3 a.m.
Oh, man.
So biggest reward for me is doing my job and going home.
Not 3 a.m.
Oh, yes, 3 a.m. Yes, it has happened.
I don't even doubt it because that's the name of working for someone else's game.
Yes.
Even with you having hours, business hours, whatever you call it, there's just always that sense of, oh, something happened. I got to call you at whatever time.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And it's definitely a trying time in my life at that moment. When my phone is ringing at 3 a.m, it's not fun.
So I was like, man, but no one's calling Wilson's Lawncare at 3 a.m. like, man, I need a quote on a lawn. Like, that's not
right now at 3 a.m.
Because I'm sure there are people that call at not business hours. Because I'd imagine, like, even as a consumer myself, I'm working during the day, so I don't necessarily have time to make those types of phone calls. But I will say, I'm not calling nobody at 3 a.m. trying to get a quote on anything, really. So that is nice to just be like, there's more normal, respectable hours at this point. No one's trying to beat your door down at 1 a.m. talking about, cool, I'll see you at work in 4 hours because so-and-so called off today and it's on you this time.
And then there's no, hey, you have to stay late. If I'm running late, it's because of something I did throughout the day and not because making me stay late because I have to clean up after X, Y, and Z. So that peace of mind has been one of the biggest successful things for me. So
with making that transition to full-time, so this is what you're doing all the time, Wilson's Lawncare, are there downsides that come with moving away from a corporation, away from a company, and into full-time self-employment?
I think initially the downside thought process, I won't say just total downside, but the downside to the thought process is not having that steady, for me anyway, that steady every Friday paycheck. I guess just putting yourself in the mind frame of, okay, so these checks are going to stop. So therefore you have to keep going to, get paid. And I think I don't want to call it a downside because you're your own boss, but at the same time, for me, since I'm a one-man crew, so I'm by myself all day pretty much, besides I bring Bryce with me sometimes. So other than that, 90% of the times I'm by myself. So I think the downside for me is almost feeling like, okay, it's all on me to get it done, which I put myself in that position. But at the same time, it kind of works on you, say, okay, I have to do this. I have to do it. I have to do it. And that's just, it can be challenging sometimes, but I don't view it in a negative way because, as I said, I've put myself in that position. But I think that's one of the things I deal with, just being by myself all day, feeling like this much is on my shoulders and this much is what I have to accomplish for the day. So,
do you ever miss the, what do they call it? The chit chats at the water cooler that you the metaphor, of just talking to other people at your job. You're self-employed. So you're like you said, you're doing your own work 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the nature of your work was before, but I know that a lot of people, even if they work in a cubicle, generally speaking, there's other people around. And so I'm just curious to see if that's also something that
I do.
One of those subtle things that you're just dang, I wish I could talk to Bill at the water cooler today.
Exactly. I have one really good friend that he still works for Pepsi. And when I left, it was a bittersweet moment. Of course, he was supportive of what I was doing. He was like, go do your thing, but you suck for leaving, basically. But yeah, we still keep in touch. Not as much as we don't speak every day as we used to, but he's definitely a good friend of mine. And that's Probably something one thing I miss from Pepsi, but other than that, I mean, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I hadn't really. I definitely haven't missed the work because I mean it was still physical labor, so I'm still doing that as well. So it's not like I missed the work. It's just more or less some of the people that I miss. So the conversations at the water cooler.
You know, it's like when you're a teacher, it's in the teacher's lounge. Like everyone has their little spot where you gather. Where everyone gathers and they have their little chit chat, their little check in, their debriefs, all that stuff. So I was just curious if like moving from a group work to independent work, was that something that hadn't even crossed my mind until today? I was just like, wait, because there are some days where I'm like, I don't need to talk. Generally speaking, I don't need to talk to no one most of the time.
Me either.
But like, you know, there are days where it's like, man, I could really go for a conversation right now. Almost like a burger.
Yeah. I'll go work by myself. I can do it. I don't need anybody to talk to, blah, blah, blah. And then week 2 hits and you're like, dang, I got nobody to talk to.
You know, I really want to tell someone about the snake that I found.
Oh, I called him. I told him.
I'm dead.
You would not believe what I found today. Oh, man. See, those are just the moments. But that is amazing. So moving into 2023, this will be season 2 of full-time Wilson's Lawncare. Do you have any goals set up for yourself in terms of this year? Of course, there's the unexpected things like weather and all that fun stuff. But generally speaking, what are your goals for Wilson's Lawncare in 2023?
I'd like to get to 140 clients total.
Nice.
That's reachable, from where I left off last season. So I think that can be definitely something I should be able to accomplish, provided that, I get those leads or I get those word of mouth referrals and whatnot. Or when people just track down the street and they're waving at me to, come down there.
Does that happen?
Oh, all the time. All the time. All the time.
When you do good work, people want to know.
Yeah.
Yes, but I didn't know like the whole chasing you down the street.
A few houses down, they walk down the sidewalk and they come in, make sure you see them. And
yeah. Wow.
So gaining those new clients would be a goal of mine, and something else is a goal. So this year I've already put out there that I'm going to jump into the Christmas light game. I'm going to hang Christmas lights this year. So I'll probably be starting that around November. I'm a little afraid. I am, just because I've never done it. It's just something new, which I have people I can ask, how it goes, how do you do this, what goes where. So I'm not necessarily worried about how to do it. I'm more worried about doing it safely. If that makes sense.
That's what I was going to say. Do you put Christmas lights on your own home?
Not. So going back to the guy I mentioned, Brett does my lights. This year I will be handling it myself. Yeah. So as I said, it's pretty scary and not necessarily a scary business to jump in. It's just, kind of just be cautious. I'll be worried when I get on my first roof to hang lights, but I think once I get the hang of it, it'll be just like mowing the lawn and, you're up there, you do it, you get down, you go. So that's a goal of mine too. So I plan to jump into that and hopefully grow that business as well. So
Wilson's Light Care.
Got to put that on the other side of the truck. Switch it out for the winter and the fall.
I hadn't thought about changing the name, but I just thought
Wilson's Christmas Care.
Just adding it to my flyer, basically.
That's not even a business I would even consider, because I can only get like 4 steps up on a ladder and then nature takes over
woozy.
And then I start getting woozy. I give up. I'm like, no.
I've been running from it for a while now. So, I mean, I've been, everyone tells me, hey, man, you're leaving money on the table for the off season. You could just do this. It's helpful. I've been running from it for a while. So this year I'm going to jump in. And hopefully things go well. So
it's tough. I remember growing up, like we would do the lights on our house. Now we only lived in a single level, right? But just like going around and like I'd have to hold the ladder. And then of course I could never do the lights. My sister always had to do the lights because she was older. And I was like, I want to hang some lights. She's like, fine, you get up here. And I did one and I was like, actually, I'll hold the ladder. That's hard.
Yeah. And seen it done. And I mean, it doesn't take long once you seem like you know what you're doing. So, I mean, I've seen guys hang lights in 30 minutes on a 2-story home. So,
Man.
yeah, I know. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to die. But, if I feel like it's not for me, then, I will fold up my tent and go home. So those are my biggest goals, just to get the clientele to where I would like for it to be and start in the Christmas light game. And I guess third would be I'm really trying to do a 4-day work week. So
love that for you. I love that for you. I am here for a 4-day work week. That would be so awesome.
I just think with the amount of clientele I'd like, it'll be rough. But if my math is right, that'll be about 22, 23 lawns a day, which can be a lot. And it can be a lot from Monday through Thursday. So
that just sounds like a lot, but gosh. But yes, 4-day work week, here for it. I hope that happens for you. And it's like, 22, 25 lawns a week or lawns a day. So that'd be awesome.
We'll see.
Okay, 4-day work weeks are the new thing. So everyone's going for 4 days. So, okay.
As we should. So as nice. We should be. So, thank you so much for coming on the show. What is your final rating of owning a business for your first year? Finishing season 1, final rating.
I would give it a solid 4.2. Solid 4.2. Reason being is, as I said, I think with working for yourself, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders and the stress level can be pretty heavy. So I think the stress kind of brings that 5-star rating because, of course, you want to work for yourself and do well and be successful and make millions of dollars, right? But the stress definitely outweighs some days on you. So I'd say a solid 4.2.
That's still pretty high in my book.
My service is 5-star. My Lawncare service is 5-star.
That's important right there. Just putting it out there. On Google review, Wilson's Lawncare, 5-star business right there. Is there anything that you would like to add? Any final thoughts as we wrap up for Wilson's Lawncare 22 going into Wilson's Lawncare 23?
I think I want to reiterate something I said on the first episode we had. So if you're really looking to start you a business, find out something you're passionate about, go for it. Don't let anyone laugh at your ideas, and discourage you. They may laugh. I was laughed at. People told me I was crazy, but go for it. If it's not successful and you really want it to be successful, you got to take those steps to be successful. So it's like you have to dial in and just go for it. So I think with anything that we all want to do as human beings, it takes effort. I feel like anyone out there that wants to start their own business, stop being afraid, put in the effort, and go do it. That's my last piece of advice. So
that works out. Y'all heard it here from Wilson's Lawncare. Brian Wilson, founder, CEO, right there. Just do it.
Just do it.
All right. Well, with that, it is time for our
rapid fire question. Okay, so in true fashion, I always go first.
All right.
We were talking in the beginning of the episode about, parts of our body that just don't work how they used to. So I'm asking, which part of your body would you like to be robotic or bionic?
Like enhanced or just replaced?
Replaced. Like it can go back to being 15 years old, 19 years old again.
Oh, I'm going feet and knees.
Yes.
Yes. I told y'all earlier, my feet kill me, and then I've had surgery on my left knee, so I need that to go back to being 15 years old again.
Man, when I see like my students when they play basketball and they play volleyball and stuff, and they're just jumping, just like jumping, just like without abandon, I'm like, your knees are gonna hate you in 20 years, but I'm not gonna be the one to tell you that. I'm not gonna be the hater, but I'm just like, I also agree. My feet. I wish I took better care of my feet. What about you, Chris?
I guess just like recovery time from injuries.
Oh, you wish it was faster?
Yeah. There are things that I don't even little scratches and stuff.
Take a little longer.
Just a little bit longer. I actually have to I used to just be able to, they used to say you just rub some dirt on it and go. That was growing up, your body just figured it out. And now it's just nope, if I don't put Neosporin on it 3 times a day, a Band-Aid, everything, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I'm just oh, this is too much. So yes, just general recovery. If we could just put that back, that would be wonderful.
I agree. I'm with that too.
Like, I've fallen recently, and, I felt like those, like, I've fallen and can't get up. Like, falling now as an adult, it hurts so much worse. I, like, fell, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna stay down here for a second, because I know the recovery time's about to be a month. Like, I'm just gonna stay down here, take the L, and that is okay. You just don't get it back up as fast as you used to.
Yeah, you don't get up fast either. So you might as well, take a break, just lay there, and then get up. You're right.
It'd be your own body.
It'd be your own body. Brian, what's your question for today?
So I'm going to stick with entrepreneurship. If you guys could start a business, what would it be?
I would have my own little, I actually have this at starting, it might be a real thing that I might do. So I want to have a like homestead tiny home out in like not quite rural, but like farther out than the suburbs. And it would be a farm to table restaurant / cooking culinary class.
Yeah.
So really teaching people how to sustainably grow their own food and then what to do with it. So you grow these vegetables, but then what do I do with these things that I just pulled in from the garden? And so that would be my ideal. And then having the restaurant as well. So and it would be it has to go with the seasons of what's growing. So having a seasonal menu and what's available from literally nature. And so that would be my ideal business right there. I've been thinking about this one for a long time.
Yeah, you were ready.
He was ready. Did you see that?
I was to say feet and knees.
He was like, I am so glad you asked. We're going to have a whole episode on this future of business. So thank you, Brian. Oh man, if I could start any business, I feel like I have like so many thoughts about like owning your own business because I saw my parents do it for so long that I'm just like, it's such hard work. Like, I know what goes into it, but ideally, if I had like all the backing, I had all the things, I think I'd want to open like a bookstore, but not just a bookstore, but like you go in and you can get the books, but you pair it with like your favorite beverage. Like, oh, I want this wine. Oh, here's a good book that goes with that wine. Oh, I want this coffee. So here's a good book that goes with that coffee. Like a little cozy area, because I do enjoy reading a good book with a hot beverage.
That's nice. I hope no one steals this idea.
I know. Can you bleep that out, Chris?
Yeah, I was just about to
hit out the whole response. She just wants, Emma says she wants a bookstore. I don't know. There were no other details given. A bookstore.
There was nothing else given.
Just let her say bookstore and then move on.
Yeah, there you go. Next question. Chris's one is just going to be homestead. Move on.
Yeah, I don't need to know what the ideas were.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question.
That's okay, but if it comes out, then you know that it came from us. I'm gonna be like, I had that idea first. But again, intellectual property, that one's a hard one to prove.
Yeah.
Even if someone does it, I can always do it better and like my style. So
remember, there's no competition.
That's true.
Exactly. So try it if you want to. I'll still do it better. Well, Brian, did you have, I guess, another side hustle that you would do and turn into a full entrepreneurship?
I would do this all over again, but earlier in life. I would have never quit working with Uncle Jim if I could go back.
Oh.
Seriously, if I could do it, I'd have been 18, fresh out of high school, with probably, who knows right now, but
with the good knees.
Yeah, but at least I'm doing it now. It's turning out to be somewhat successful. So yeah, I would do this all over again, but just earlier.
Okay, well, my question that comes from the book: what is the biggest personal change you've ever made?
I bite my nails for years. I mean, from 5 years old to probably now I'm 38. I probably stopped at 36. So yeah, that's the biggest personal change I've made. And it was just like, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I didn't.
Whoa.
So no health reasons. I mean, of course, I know it's unhealthy to do, but usually people change things because, they don't want to have a heart attack or something like that. But no, it was a personal change. I just stopped doing it one day and haven't done it since. So
I was a nail biter too. I used to but mine was so bad. I used to bite the cuticles too.
Me too. Oh yeah, me too.
And then when you would go in swimming or if you're in the shower for too long, my nails look wretched. It looked bad.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's not my big change. I love that for you though. Oh man, my big personal change.
Chris stumped you with this.
Yeah. Chris, do you have one? Oh, your vegetarianism?
Well, thanks for taking my answer, Emma.
Oh, sorry. What's your big personal change, Chris?
Okay, I'm just gonna go now. Where can people find the podcast? No. Okay, so for anyone who does not know my life story, let me expand it a little bit. So I was raised a normal food eater for my entire life, but then I realized in college that I didn't actually want to eat meat anymore because I thought it was really weird. It was a whole thing that I went through for a while. I thought about it for a very long time. And so then when I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which was also a big personal change for me, it's the first time I'd moved that far away from home, I decided I was just going to jump into being a vegetarian. And very similar, following in that same cold turkey vein, I just stopped eating meat one day and just haven't looked back since.
Shemaine, she's probably going to be mad at me because I didn't say the meat eating, the vegetarian thing.
Well, I mean, y'all are still pescatarian,
Your nails, really? Your nails? That's important.
It is, though. Hey, that is an important one. I think, your pescatarianism also important, too. Oh, man, I have so many big changes, Christopher. I can't think of one. Big personal change. You know what? It's definitely the negative self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was until I was probably 25. I had the worst negative self-talk. Anything that went bad, it was always framed in a negative. And I don't know what shifted it for me to think oh, actually, that's really toxic. You got a toxic relationship with your body. So I think that's definitely something that was a big change, was reframing the negative self-talk.
I like that.
That's probably the moment when your brain fully developed.
That's when my prefrontal cortex became an adult.
Mm-hmm. It was actually, I'm not that bad. The rest of you, you're bad.
Trash. Trash.
Everyone else's fault.
Well, Brian, where can people find more information about Wilson's Lawncare?
You can find Wilson's Lawncare by reaching out to 682-241-0809 if you'd like to give me a call for a free estimate on anything you need with your lawn.
Woohoo! Well, check it out. Check it out. And Emma, where can people find the podcast?
You can find our podcast on Instagram and Twitter at The Tea with Krema. If you'd like to buy us a cup of tea, you can also find us on Venmo at The Tea with Krema. You can also stream our podcast anywhere that you like to stream your podcasts. We hope to see you next time. Bye!
All right. I want to give a huge shout out to my wife on her 33rd birthday. Happy birthday, Shemaine Wilson. I love you.